Hello and welcome to Mark Codex. My name is Mark. Welcome back to this series, guys. Sorry for posting after a really long time. I had a lot of exams, so I apologize for not posting earlier, and we should hopefully continue working on this Minesweeper game. Last time I got a comment from Trevor. Trevor, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your comment as well. I really do appreciate that. What Trevor mentioned that he had an error somewhere around. What I'm guessing, he's getting an error here, right? So Trevor, if you're watching this, again, thank you so much for your support. And what I want you to do is to try to debug it yourself, because basically, as a developer, you constantly going to go around bugs, and basically your error that you're facing, you might have missed, while you're coding along. Sometimes, people miss stuff because you're typing and you're looking at the tutorial. So sometimes you miss something. So try to console log stuff. And what I would suggest is to start here and console log value, right? And see if you're getting the right value. If not, then try to debug somewhere else. Try to go back to your board, for example. Check your mutated arrays with mines or with neighbors. We're going to change all that. Don't worry. This is basically just an MVP. We just wanted to build something and we just want to show it. So don't worry about that. And also I wanted to remind you and remind everyone as well that I'm going to have the GitHub repository by the end of this series, because as you all might know, I'm actually recording and committing to the repo, and I don't want to send it like half finished. So I want to finish the whole series and then I will post the GitHub. So don't worry about that. Just make sure to keep watching the videos and keep those comments up, because basically these are really good feedbacks, and good if there is something I could help with. I'm always happy to do so. All right, so let's get started. Last time we basically mapped whatever we have in data as a grid. We mapped it to this grid right here. And we successfully managed to show the number of mines. Okay, so that worked out very well. Just wanted to note out that I really hate this color. So we're going to change some of the styling today, not everything. So let's just start by being a little bit productive and just try to write down what we're going to work on today. So what we're going to work on today, what I'm thinking to start with, first, I just want to change this to a component, because we're rendering multiple stuff. We're iterating over a matrix or an array. And we're rendering an element. Better to have a component for that. So let's just do that. We're going to call it a cell component. So we're going to just say build a cell component. Another thing, I want to do some cleanup to our style sheet, and also that's basically what I'm thinking at this moment. Maybe we could change this later. And last but not least, we wanted to capture clicks on cells. So that's basically the whole point of the game, right? We wanted to click on a cell, and that click should return a full object of that cell. So all the data, all the flags, everything that within that cell, the number, the neighbors, if it's a mine, if it's not a mine, and so on and so forth. So capture clicks on a cell, cleaning up and building a cell. And lastly, what I wanted to do, I wanted to add immer. What basically immer does is that, first of all, this array, this whole grid is a 2D array. It's a matrix, whatever you want to call it. Let's actually console it first. because that makes sense, so we can explain. So you just say data. Right. So this is our 2D array. And as you can see, we have rows, we have columns. Each single one of those rows is actually, or rows and columns, this is a cell, and the cell contains data. And when I wanted to manipulate that data, because it's way, way deep in that array, it's going to make it difficult for the vanilla JavaScript. I mean, you can still do it with JavaScript, and with whatever like functionality, higher order functions and whatnot, but it's going to just make it complicated. Immer will help us mutate those data safely, and will just like always give us and update that grid when it gives it back. Because like functionality wise with data structure in JavaScript, unfortunately, especially with arrays, sometimes it has like errors and like does not give you the new state of that array or that variable. So that will give us kind of like trouble when we play this game, because you click on something, it hasn't updated yet. And that's where we're going to use Immer, and we're going to talk about it more when we get there. But for now, let's just start and get into this game and get to this code. All right, let's start cleaning up a bit, and let's just get there. All right, so first of all, we wanted to, what did we say? We want to do building a cell component. That's very easy. We're just going to create a file in a folder called components. And that file, we're just going to call it cell.jsx. And then we're going to use this snippet generator, and we're going to save that. We're going to go back to our board right here. Just gonna cut that out, paste it instead of here. Right on. We're gonna pass in props, and then props gonna be props.i. And instead of doing that, I'm just gonna deconstruct all that. So what do I need? I need ij, I need column, and that's it. So we're just gonna say column. I'm just deconstructing it instead of using props. Similar way, same job, way cleaner. All right, let's get here, and then we just gonna import cell from, we're gonna go at one directory, components, cell, we have that. So now cell, we just gonna put that here. We're gonna give it, as we can see, we need the column, we need I, we need j, so we're gonna say column equal to column, and then we need I as I, and j as j. Oops. And we're gonna close that. Perfect. So if we save that, let's get back. Things should be similar. Don't worry about this warning. I'll tell you what's happening, but everything is working. Right here, it's complaining about this needs a key. Cell needs a key, because any iteration, React should have a key to understand that there's an iteration in here, and always have a unique value for each element to track it. So we will just say or let's go back to cell. I'm just going to copy this right here, and we're just gonna, actually we could just get that key in here, save, go back and paste that key in here. Perfect. Oh, and I fixed that auto save, not auto save, fix ESLint on save, or fix prettier on save, and it's actually right here in the setting. I just needed to add this line. Alrighty. So that does it. We gone with the error, and things are working fine. So perfect. Our first goal has been done. So let's go back to README. Just scratch that. Boom. We have that done. All right. Let's clean up some style. Let's change this color, this amazing, obnoxious color. Save that. And then I'm just going to change the border to something grayish. I think it's perfect now. All right, so that is done. That's what I just wanted to clean up. And capture clicks on cells. All right, so things moving fast. I know, nothing major. It's just like simple steps we're doing. We just build a cell. We did like style up some style sheet, clean up some style sheets, and we want to capture the click on clicking the cells. So, all right, let's think about this before we start. What I wanted to do is when I click on a cell, I just want to see the output as a console for now. All right, so one last thing before we continue, I just wanted to clean this up better than this. So we're just gonna create a function right here, and we will call it, I don't know, get value. And get value will get the cell data. And then here we just gonna create, we're gonna deconstruct is mine, and we're gonna deconstruct neighbors. Not night, neighbors equals to cell data. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do some one-liner magic. We're gonna say is mine. We will return right here, that's mine. And that, if that is false, is just gonna move on to the next line, which we're gonna say if neighbors, because we want to check if it's neighbors. If not, we will just return nothing. So just do that. And oops, sorry, not that. We could just say neighbors. Right. Let's come here and look, and seems to be fine so far because that's here. And now in here we're gonna say, instead of all that, we can just say get value. It will make sense later why this is gonna be way easier. So let's just get we're gonna pass in column. Right on. Things still working fine. Perfect. So this got cleaned up. The next step is to capture on click. And to do that, because the data, all the data is right here, makes sense just to have a functionality to call it on left click, because we will use the right click later. So we're gonna call it on left click, and in here we're gonna pass in what? We're gonna pass in the event from the click. We're gonna pass in the X and Y, right? Because I want to get to the, I want to get the dimension of that cell to return back from the array, return back that data. So the X and Y, do I need something else? I don't think so. Now we're just gonna say e.prevent default, and then right here we're gonna pass in on on click. Let's just pass in on click. No, that's not gonna work. So let's do this right here. I mean, I can name it on click, but I just wanted to keep that name on click in here because it makes a lot of sense. So on left click, let's just rename this on left click. And in here, we're going to pass in the function, the returning function, and we're going to pass in E as well as I and J. Perfect. So that's the X and Y in here. And then I'll just console, honestly, also console.log. Oh, this one. Yeah. So that, and we're going to just say X, oops, and what am I doing? X, Y. There we go. X and Y. Right on. And I missed the arrow function in here. Perfect. And then it says E. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with just writing E because I'm lazy. So event.prevent default. All that is great. Perfect. And then here we will just get on. I'll click. We'll grab that. We'll add it here. Oops. Let's just do on click. That's why I wanted to call it on L click, because just to distinguish between the actual on click functionality that we have and on left click. So actually this one is like that. So on L click, and then we're gonna pass in E, I, J. One last thing here, I forgot, because this is returned from cell. That's why I'm returning it here. Let's kind of reiterate over this one just to be clear. This event right here, so this is the main functionality. This is where the on click happens. When it happens, we just need to return the event of that click in here, because that's the actual click. When that happens, we're going to invoke this function that we're passing in as a prop. And we're passing through E, I, and J within that same cell, right? Because we're iterating over it, and I and J is going to be unique for this cell specifically when you click on it. So when you call that on left click, we go up one level back to the board, and that's where on L click is here, right? So that's passed in back in here, and that's the function. Those are what we passed from this cell right here to here. So that's EIJ, EIJ. Hopefully that makes sense. And this will invoke this function right here, and we will log out that mutated data. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go back here. And oh no, we have some execution JavaScript. Okay, that's fine. Let's click on a level. Drum rolls, please. Noise. All right. So this neighbor says 1, 0, 9, false, false. Let's click on a mine. And it says 0, 8. So that's X and Y. Neighbors is 0. So is mine is empty true, because we started on that. So that's totally fine. Here is empty false, is mine false, and neighbors. Perfect. Let's see this one, an empty cell. So 3, 6, true, false. Perfect. It works fine. So this is the row. Let's try one last time. So this is the row 1, column 2, right? So we should see 0 or X equal 1 and Y equal 2. Perfect. There is no mine. Mine is false. There is no neighbors, and it is empty. Right on. So we got that on click. Perfect. So we can just mark this as complete. Awesome. All right. Let's think about what we're going to do next. What we're going to do next is to add immer. Before we add immer and we add all these mutations, what I want to actually do for now is just to clean up this mess. Before we do that, first of all, I have dimensions, and instead of dimensions, I was thinking to kind of call this basically data. Trying to think of a better name, but what I'm trying to call this one, maybe setup. Setup data. Let's call it setup data. And in here, we're going to have width, height, and mines. Just so we always, we don't have this kind of, data just like spread around. So just going to go setup data and then mines right here. Let's see if we're using any numbers in here instead of width and height, and which we're not. So with that being said, we will just create a function, and I'll call it init board. And this function will just take this array right here, actually all these, and it will just return mutated data. And in here, instead of we're gonna pass in height, width, and mines, and we will change set up that width to width, and set up that height to H, and whatever it says set up mines, we're just gonna return back M. And yeah, that's fine. This error is fine because we don't have that anymore. And we don't have this one anymore. Right, so now I'll just create a state, and we'll just say import use state. I'll just create a state in here. Let's use the snippet for that, use state. And we will change this to grid and set grid. And instead of what I'm going to initialize here, I'm going to initialize with a function. And I will just say init board. And this init board will have, let's see, do I need to pass in set? Yeah, let's just add setup data. Yeah, and right here, we can just say, sorry, thinking of a better way to write this, and we're gonna call this one height, width, and mines, and we're gonna rename those. So I'll show you how to deconstruct and rename a variable. Right here we have like actually width. Let's take this one right here. Let's keep it in order. So width, height, mines. But I'm using HW just because it's easier and cleaner. So in order to deconstruct and rename a variable, very simple. You grab that variable right now, so we have it as width, and then we're going to rename it to the actual new name. So now we have W is verified. Height, we're going to call it as H. Mines is called as mines. I know it's too, I'm just going to say like Mark, you're just going to take it like really, this is like an overkill, but this is what I'm thinking right now. So yeah, that's going to work. So now we will grab that grid and we're just going to replace this here instead of that. And then in the console, we can just say grid. So we just have, yeah, this warning says that set grid is not being called, which is the one right here. It's totally fine. Let's see if everything is working fine. And yeah, we are still in business. Perfect. What I'm going to do now is adding immer. All right, so let's go right here. And we're just going to say, yeah, we are on node 16. And let's just say yarn add immer. All right, so first thing, what I want to add to our grid is revealed. And this will start as false, so it's going to be false, and we're going to change this one to true. We just added immer. Perfect. And what I want to do is go back to board.js, and I want to do my whole logic in here to manipulate this is revealed from false to true. And then we're going to change that value in cell. So let's start one cell at a time, or one, well, let's see. So we're going to import produce, and that's the function that we're going to import from immer. We don't want the whole package, just need produce. So first of all, I want to check if grid xy dot is revealed. If it is true, then I should return. I don't have to worry about anything else. Because now it's revealed. I just want to stop that click from happening. Then I will just say const updated grid. And that equal to produce. And this will take 2 arguments. The first one grid, and the other one is the draft that we will change. So I will use the object class that is within JavaScript, and we will say assign. So we're assigning a value and draft, and we will just get X, Y, and then from there, comma, and then is revealed is going to be true. So that should take care of it. For now, this is just to check if this is revealed. So now let's actually visualize this. And let's go back to cell. We will add is revealed. So perfection. Nice. All right, let me show you if we're not using immer. So we will say const updated grid equal to, and we will grab that grid, X, Y. Actually, we could just do the same thing. And instead of draft, we could just say grid. Save that, updated grid. Perfect, perfect. And let's just see. Well, what do you know? What do you know? And that is not going to work, and that's why we're using immer. That's the whole deal. Now we can see if we refresh, click here, click here, click here, and then if we click on the same one, you can see the console log because I'm just getting that here. You just delete that, go back, and when you click on something that is clicked, that is done. There is nothing happening to that. Perfection. And as you can see, mine, it does not have that click. Now, we have done most of the changes. The last thing I want to add before we end up this session or this video is to add a game status. I just want to add just a simple, let's have my variables up there and let's have my states down here. So let's just use state snippet. And in here, let's call this one game status. And we'll just call this one right here. I don't know, game on. So this one when the game starts. And we can just call this one right here and add that to, let's see, should we put it here? And we need to, oops. Not game statue. Why did I actually say, oh my, why did I call a statue? Okay, let's do state, game state. All right, so game state in here instead. And now we have game on. Now, what I want to do as well is when I click on a bomb, I just want to say set game state to game over. So let's just do that. It's going to be very, very simple. It's another addition to our handy dandy function. Before we set the grid, what we will do is that we will check if, you can just say if updated grid, X and Y, that is mine, then we can just return. Let's check that now. Click, 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 reveal, reveal, game over. All right, lastly, we need to add a button to reset the game. So let's just do that. So that's the next step. I actually added work more, so let's just do add that to our to-do list. So we added the immer. We checked if a cell is revealed, And then we could just like mutate array to new state when cell is revealed. And then lastly, we wanted adding game state. And then we want to adding a reset game functionality. So we just did that. We added the game state. Now we wanted to add the reset game functionality. So this is going to be a simple function. It's not going to take a while. So we just go back to our board const, and we're going to call this one reset game. And this one will take, what do you know, setup data. And this will call, we can just call this one right here, set game. And then to back to game on, because we want to change that back. And then we're going to set grid to, and in the board. And setup data. And now let's go back to Material UI. Let's grab this outline button. Let's add this below here. Let's just import this. Do we have anything for material? Yeah, container. Just say when. And we have this button right here. Let's just add. Let's add. Okay, don't hate me. All right, let's just zoom out a little bit, and instead of outline, we'll just change the name to reset the game, and we'll have the on click, pass in reset game, and that will get setup data. Let's just pass E as well. I want to prevent default when that happens, so let's just do that. So let's just do E dot prevent default, add that as a function, and then we just gotta add E in here. Perfection. All right. Hey, I'm playing. Oh no, game over. Reset game. Game on. Perfect. Hey, I'm playing. Oh no, game over. Reset game. Right on. Let's just do some cleanup. Let's just go back and just remove those console logs. Go. And then we will go back to our function right here. Do we have any console log here? No. Reset. Clicking. Game over. Reset game. Boom. Awesome. So that actually concludes our video today. So thank you so much for sticking with me so far. We almost have a full game to play. Now all we have left is to just hide this data, not to show it, because right here, right now in the cell, I'm actually getting that value. We don't want to show this value, so we will return nothing in here. However, when we reveal that, we will just show whatever behind it. And that could be really done easily. And after that, we will add another functionality, which is the flag. So when you click on a flag, this will not be clicked on because when you know for a fact that there is a mine in here, we want to flag that. So we will add this feature as well. And last but not least, we're just gonna style the game a little bit. And yeah, that's it. The game is almost done. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the series so far. Again, I apologize for not posting this video early this month. I'm really having a lot of things going on this month. So thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for all your support. And as always, stay curious.